So much sport ongoing right now. We're loving the Euros, but of course, it is Royal Ascot as well to look forward to. One of the biggest weeks of the horse racing calendar. All the pomp and ceremony. Frankie Foster alongside us here. He'll be with me all week at Royal Ascot as well. You'll be looking smart and dapper. I'll be looking like Sir Topham Hatt. It's just a fantastic week. Top class racing, international stars as well, Frankie, coming to probably arguably one of the greatest racecourses in the world.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? It's a marathon, isn't it, Ascot? You almost forget 5 days, so many races, so many horses. I've been spending the last week sieving through it, particularly taking a look at the Group Ones at this stage. But yeah, it's a cracking week, and it attracts so much attention, which is brilliant from, as you said, people all over the world. Hardy racing fans, and then also people that are your once a year Ascot race goers, because it is just so much fun. And I just want to enjoy it, Matt. I want a few winners and I want to enjoy it.
Yeah, well, let's try and point in the direction of a few winners then. It starts with a bang, doesn't it? Those three of the first four races are Group Ones, including this horse behind me, Frankel, winning the Queen Anne St James's Palace, of course, in his career. We start with the Queen Anne then. The big surprise last year, usually, this does go to the red hot favourite. A surprise at turn of events last year. Inspiral was just denied, but she's back for more, so it's going to be a market leader here, Frankie.
Yeah, and that's, I suppose, the talking point after her disappointing run at Newbury. Are you with or against her? I think we say every time she runs that she's brilliant when she is and she's poor when she's not. This time I'm willing to take her on. Just a bit too many gaps in her form, and the John and Thady Gosden team haven't been firing as well as you'd like them to, although there is every chance that they completely turn that around when it matters, Royal Ascot week. But I am going to take her on. Not with anything that's a huge price. I have got one at a better price, maybe an each way play, but I think the second favourite, Shirin, just ran a great race in that same race at Newbury. Was tough to chase the winner home when the winner got an easy lead, and Charim put up a good effort in second and is progressive and has done it plenty of times over the mile and respectable at Ascot last year. So he just looks really solid, which is what you kind of want. You want to run for your money here. The other that might outrun his odds is Maljoom. Again, ran credibly. We've gone for the same two, have we? At the Royal Meeting last year. Is also progressive and will definitely come on for his first start this season. So if you believe in the superstar of Inspiral, fair enough. But if not, I think you're not looking for the other superstar. You're looking for consistency and a good run, and those two horses should give you it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Charim has been my pick from the front of the market. To say back to in the lock-ins, I thought he won at Sandown despite the way the race went. I think he's a huge chance and massively progressive as well. And Maljoom, you remember last year how unlucky he was, of course, in the St James's Palace Stakes. Yeah. Couldn't quite pick him up close home, and he only been seen twice since that race last time. I wouldn't have suited him. So yeah, I think it'd price Maljoom as well. Before we move on, though, you caught up with Jerome Renier. Obviously, a few targets, a few horses. And you spoke to him about Facteur Cheval.
Yeah, that's right. He was pretty confident, actually. He was kind of saying that this is his chance to mark himself down as one of the best milers in the world. And why not after what he did in Dubai? He also said that he wasn't that pleased with the ride the horse got on Champions Day. So he's hoping that that's not a blip in his form, so to speak, and a negative coming back to Ascot where he's been beaten. He was just beaten by a good horse on the day that liked the conditions and got a favourable ride. So he was pretty positive. And he's certainly coming here with every chance. I couldn't put you off backing Facteur Cheval, put it that way.
Yeah, interesting. And could be one for the French in the first, but no, we both agree. Sharon and Maljoom at a price in the Queen Anne. What about the sprint? What was a King Stand? Now the King Charles III Stakes. Big Evs will be a very popular winner. I am sure he's a bit of a star, isn't he? For Mick Appleby, but it's a cracking renewal as it always is. And again, international interest, Frankie.
Yeah, it's a brilliant race. I want to take on Big Evs. He's been a superstar for connections and he's won them plenty of races and take them to great places. But I actually don't know if his form is as strong as, I know that sounds silly because he's been winning races, but he's kind of got the right races and things have gone his way maybe. So I'm going to try and take him on. I like Kurdos. I really liked how he won last time. You're smiling again, mate. This could be a great week. It could be a great week, Matt.
Or an awful one.
Yeah, an awful one. Just looked so game when he won at Haydock. I loved the way that he finished his race. Was kind of getting after his stride. Looked like he really, really enjoyed that. So again, tricky fields. You want a horse that's going to go there and give a proper effort, and I think you'll get that from Kurdos. I loved his racing style. And then one that's probably the opposite, this is all or bust for Twilight Calls. I've backed this horse about 5 times as a loser. And I know you're head in hands because you're thinking, how can I possibly back him again? And I wasn't going to. Somebody mentioned it to me the other day. So I went back into his form, and not to bore you and long this out, but in that brilliant 2022 season he was 5th at Newmarket in the Group 3, then was 2nd at Haydock in the Group 2, then was 2nd at Ascot, obviously, in this race. Following season didn't go that well. 9th in the same race at Newmarket, 9th at Haydock in the same race, but then was 4th here again when being unlucky. So he's got a 2nd and a 4th, 2 seasons on the trot, even when his form dipped. He was 4th at Newmarket this year. He actually ran quite credibly. On ratings, it's up there with one of his better performances. He hasn't gone to Haydock. If that's any benefit, a 2nd, a 4th, looking like he's in the same form. Ryan Moore's booked again. Surely he'd be sick of him if he knew he wasn't going to win. There has to be a case, an each way case for Twilight Calls. So I'm sticking with him.
Right, we haven't compared notes. We haven't seen anybody's notes. This is genuine. We've gone for the 2 in the first. We've got the same 2 as well. Kurdos, again, I was at Haydock when he won. Did it very professionally, picking up, living the dream of cows. Let the form down later. But I actually spoke to Clive Cox, lovely guy, by the way, at Haydock last week, and he said how well he's been working since, and they're really excited about running him. And I think he's a vastly improving sprinter as well. So certainly a case for Kurdos. And exactly the same case you've made for Twilight Calls. Ryan Moore's been booked really early for this. He's ridden him the last 2 years, as you say. He's finished 2nd in the King Charles III. He's finished 4th in one as well, even when his form wasn't great. And I said it was a fair effort when 4th, I thought, on his return at Newmarket. So yeah, massive tick in the box for Twilight Calls as well. Right, let's see what happens when we get to the St. James's Palace Stakes then, shall we? This, Frankie, is one of the races of the age. We've got the English, Irish, and now supplement the French 2,000 guineas winners all locking horns here. A brilliant race for the week. One of the races of the year it could be.
Fantastic, isn't it? And I don't know if I'm trying to be too clever here, because if you go back and watch the guineas, my eyes tell me notable speech. He was super that day. But this might get me some stick. But just looking at Dubawi, he obviously never went to Ascot, but a lot of his top performing progeny do have little blips at Ascot, and it just kind of puts me off. Obviously, he's had plenty of Ascot winners because the amount of good horses he's produced, but you go and look at the kind of top 10 on ratings that Dubawi's produced, and you look at what they did at Ascot in comparison to what they did at other courses. I don't think it's the biggest confident boost for horses by Dubawi coming here. Whereas Rosalian, are you going to be with me? No, there's not a smirk. Maybe you're going to take me on. Rosalian's won at Ascot already. Obviously ran well in the Guineas, then backed that up by going to Ireland. So proven his form is by Blue Point, who obviously has a great Ascot record and has produced plenty of Ascot winners. Just sways me slightly to be with Rosalian. Looking at that Guineas run, notable speech does, is a length or 2 better. But coming to Ascot, I wonder if the odds are turned in Rosalian's favour.
Yeah, I think so. Again, no, in 2,000 guineas, he actually, he's down the middle of the track, wasn't he? He kind of got blindsided by a notable speech. And
yeah,
he won at the Curragh, despite the race kind of going against him. Harton had gone for home, obviously, a long way out, and he had to negotiate around the outside, and he's running down right on the line.
Yeah.
I think Rosalian is, and he was very impressed for Ascot as a 2-year-old as well last season. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of Rosalian. Again, talking about Jerome Rennie a little earlier, you spoke to him about Darlinghurst, who's obviously being targeted this, unbeaten in 4 starts this year.
Yeah, Jerome said his best asset is his turn of foot. So it could be tactical. And if he thinks if he is able to go at a speed he's comfortable with until the final furlong or when things start to quicken, if he can get there comfortably, he says he has absolutely every chance. So it will be slightly tactical in that respect and how the race pans out. But again, we'll find out whether Jerome was just a nice, positive chap and very confident about all his horses, or whether his thoughts come to fruition. Because I got positive vibes. Probably the most I'd say out of his three runners, I would probably be most swayed with Darlinghurst. He seemed to think that if the race went his way and he was allowed to go at a speed he liked, he does have a devastating turn of foot.
Okay, then. So that's Tuesdays. It looks like we're all on the same page on Tuesday, Frankie. What about Wednesday, the Prince of Wales Estates? One of the races of the week, of course, the older horses over 10 furlongs, one of the races of the season. Sadly, no passenger. He's been ruled out. We've got Augusta Rodan and White Birch, who met last time out. If we agree on our selection here, I will be surprised. Go on.
Yeah, I don't have that much of a strong opinion in this either. The matchup, I'd probably be with White Birch, but I don't think I'll back either of them, to be honest. I'll be looking for an each-way play outside the top two. Luxembourg, there's questions over whether he runs here or not, but if he does, got to look at his run in Hong Kong, second to Romantic Warrior, who's an absolute superstar. That was over 10 furlongs. Romantic Warrior's backed that up since. Ryan Moore was miserable as ever because that was the lightest weight he'd done in a long time in order to ride that horse. They did fancy it that day, and he's got a lot of talent over 10 furlongs. So if Luxembourg races here, I think he's a great each way bet. It will obviously be interesting though, because Ryan, I suppose, would ride Augusta Rodan, which I never like, as I've said previously, to bet against his choice. But I do like Luxembourg's 10 furlong form if he comes here. And then my play really for the race is going to be Royal Rhyme, Matt. Who ran or has run credibly here on Champions Day. I thought had to do the hard work on the front. Wasn't as good as obviously the winner, King of Steel. He finished fifth in the end, but he seems to be progressing. He's probably a horse that has taken a little bit more time to get going. He's not one that had a superstar 2-year-old career. And I just feel like with his recent run at Sandown, the way that with each run he seems to be getting better, and a credible run at Ascot previously, 20s, 25s, whatever he is more than fair.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think he'll need a bit of rain, I think, as well, to be at his best. I thought Alflaila was interesting. He's won an every seasonal debut, really progressive. Not been seen too much last year, only the twice. One on his comeback at York, and then it kind of didn't go his way in the Irish Champion. He was slowly away and looked like he tailed off, but he stayed on really well. But it's his catching him first time out, I think, is the time. And I think with doubts about those at the top of the market, I think around about 10, 12 to 1, as he ever is. I think you get a good run for your money out of Alflaila in the Prince of Wales' stakes. Right, the second longest race of the week, but probably the most prestigious is, of course, the Gold Cup. We've got a long odds-on favourite here in Kyprios for Aidan O'Brien, who, of course, absolutely farms this race. He wasn't there last year due to injury, but he's looking to regain his crown that he won in 2022. He's the only odds-on favourite as we speak for the whole week at Royal Ascot. Is his price justified?
I think it is. I think it's fair. I think this is his race for the winning, to be honest. Even based off his form of a mile 6 and 2 miles. But if you look exclusively as to what he's done over 2.5, he seems unbeatable at that distance from what else is in the race. I think the play here is to back him and Trawlerman. Trawlerman's obviously got to step up in trip, but the way that those two went clear of the rest of the field over 2 miles at Ascot shows the ability they've both got. And if he doesn't quite stay, there's every chance that those two might go clear of the field and you might pick up a third place at an each way price. I really do think that if you back those two, they're the most talented in the field. They're both proven at Ascot, and Chorlaman obviously is a slight question of the trip. But I just think if you're a stayer, you're a stayer. If you're winning over a mile 6, 2 miles, you probably do it over 2.5.
Yeah, I think he is justified. I think he's by far the most likely winner, and say he's done nothing wrong this season. And he's come back. We know he stays well. We saw he dominated the Prix de Cadron over this trip as well. I mean, Gregory caught the eye at York, that there's no doubt, but he's never been, well, not been 2 miles. Only won a Queen's Varsity last year, let alone at 2.5. But he looks like he will stay. Bizarrely, I think there's a bit of a stamina doubt about Vauban, really. I mean, he's a 2-mile hurdler. He's well beat the Melbourne Cup, but, 2-mile hurdlers going 2.5 on the flat, there's a question mark, isn't there?
Yeah, I don't know if he's quite got the quality, maybe. Well, he has got the class, but yeah, like you said, slight stamina doubt. And these are proper staying flat horses that know their job and have done it before. And I know he won at the Royal Meeting last year, but in a handicap at the end of the week, this is the Gold Cup. this is a different kettle of fish, in my opinion.
Yeah, certainly is, and I think there is one for the favourite backers then in the Gold Cup on Thursday. You can watch that, and obviously tune in to the England match, or you can join us in the Betfred shops, of course, and keep abreast of it all in the final couple of races on the Thursday as well. Right, two Group Ones to look at on Friday, Frankie. We'll start with the Commonwealth Cup, one of the brilliant races since it was brought in, of course, one of the newest Group Ones out at Royal Ascot. Now, Van Dijk's been all the rage. He's our biggest liability actually here because he's been well supported for the Commonwealth Cup. Kind of lost his unbeaten record to Inisherin at Haydock, but he can only improve on that. He looked like he did need the run, but should be plain saying this is a really red hot sprint, as it always is, and it's given those 3-year-olds that don't quite stay a mile a new dimension for their careers, hasn't it?
Yes, that is what I'm looking at for my selection, River Tiber. But to talk about Van Dijk first, as you said, the biggest liability is going to be well supported. He was champion 2-year-old. He surely has to be better than what he showed at Haydock, and they did say before the race that he will come on for it, and he's not 100%. I still think they would have liked to see a bit more from him. No matter how much you want to play it a little bit safe with a horse's first run back and Ascot's the target, I do feel like you still would want to test the limit a bit more than that and see a bit more class than that. So he may well go and win. I'd kind of like him to see to win, because I like to see that, the superstar 2-year-olds train on and do it again. But he's not backable for me, I don't think. I like River Tiber, who's been a bit weak in the market, which is not really that positive considering connections, but only a couple of lengths behind Van Dijk twice as a 2-year-old. Obviously raced in the Irish 1000 over a mile. Didn't quite get it, but we've talked about how good we think Rosalien might be. Back to 6. Ryan will ride, and Ryan, knowing that he stays, can play things his own way. I just think he might bully them a bit. And at each way price, when you know he's tough and you know he can stay, I'd hope he'd be in the frame, which makes him a great each way play for me.
Interesting, and yeah, River Tiber then in the Commonwealth Cup, and it's those connections and silks that have the likely market leader for the Coronation Stakes, Opera Singer. She's a fantastic juvenile and probably needed it. We know, obviously, well documented, she had a setback earlier on this season over the winter into the early part of this season, so she probably would have needed that run in the Irish 1000 games behind Fallen Angel. The market suggests she will turn that form around, but we've also got the 1-3 from Newmarket as well with El Malka, who's a surprise winner at HQ, and Ramet Tuel as well, the French raider, with Asheen Murphy going to be taking over in the plate on the French raider.
Yeah, and I think that's where I'm looking. She went very early. Sorry, just getting an incoming call, stumped me. Yeah, she went early, really, didn't she, in the 1000? And talking about Van Dijk, she's finished second by a short neck to Van Dijk. She's got plenty of speed. She travelled beautifully at Newmarket, and a slightly more patient ride, I think, would put her well in the mixer. So I do really like her chances. And then you spoke about Opera Singer and Fallen Angel at the top of the market. One a bit further down, a Lilac Roller has beaten Opera Singer at the Coa and then come second in the Irish 1000 to Fallen Angel, and is about 5 times their price. I don't think she is the worst each way bet.
Interesting then. Couple then at one at a decent price, but I think I agree. I think Ramituel. I mean, she was kind of nabbed, wasn't she? In the she ran a second, was encouraging in the pre-impedance, but I think the third at Newmarket, she went from a little bit too early. The miss held on to a little bit more. And Asheen Murphy, I think, will certainly play his hand late in match on the French raider. But again, that has the makings of one of the races of the week. Right, the only Group 1 on Saturday. We're back sprinting, Frankie, is the Queen Elizabeth II Jubilee Stakes. This is where one of my best bets of the week goes. We'll hear your thoughts first.
Is it? This is, so I'll let you take over then, really, because this is one I'm still kind of struggling to get an opinion on. The two I like are Shartash and Mitbahi. The one that takes my vote if I'm pushed is Mitbahi, who Charlie Hills and Connections won the race last year, obviously at a big price with Cardem, who runs again, but Mebahi's had 3 starts since changing from Roger Varian to Charlie Hills, over 6, over 5, and over 6. Last time over 6 at the Curragh, beating Regional, who's also in this, and I think is a very good sprinter, flying home late on under a classic Jamie Spencer ride. Showed that the talent is there to do this, in my opinion. Jamie Spencer's rode all 3 times since moving to Charlie Hills, and I would imagine will ride again. I think he's got a cracking chance. What do you think?
Nailed it.
Boom.
Absolutely. No, yeah, I think he's got a massive chance. I mean, that fourth in the Aberdeen on his seasonal return, first start for the stable, when he was probably the logical winner, because he's the only horse that all kind of week at the Craven kind of made that ground from the rear. It was a front runner's paradise. He was held up, as is his wont, of course, under Jamie Spencer, and ended up finishing a fast finishing fourth. He caught so many eyes. He went off favourite for the Palace House, but that was dropped back to 5. Okay, he did have good winning form over 5. For Roger Varian, but he was staying on. He was finished 7th there, but he wasn't beaten too far. But you just thought the way he won in Ireland, and he was well backed. He was available like 14, 16 to 1. He won much shorter than that under Jamie Spencer. He was just ultra confident, wasn't he? The typical Spencer-esque ride. It's Spencer on the straight course. They won it with Cardem last year. And I'm sure this guy's got probably more talent than that one as well. I'm sure
we might know bit more on Tuesday as well, Matt, because that 5 furlong race you spoke about in Newmarket, where he finished to lengthen a quarter behind the winner and was slow away, so it's not bad at all in a 5 furlong race. But both Kurdos and Twilight Calls, so both our selections finished 4th and 5th in that race. If they run well, that'd be a big confidence boost.
Yeah, so I think he's got a massive, massive chance, and you know exactly how he's going to be ridden. Hopefully, there's plenty of pace on Washington Heights. He's in there, Art Power, that type. There, will go forward, and Jamie Spencer can just plot his course and be staying on strongest at the end. And I think he's a solid bet for the week. So that's the Group 1s looked at, Frankie. Anything that's caught your eye in terms of the juveniles or the handicappers for the week?
Well, I'm going to have to give you 2 in the Coventry because one's at the top of the market. But I really do believe that Coward of the County, who's your current joint favourite, trained by Joseph O'Brien, can go and win this. He's the form pick anyway of the bunch. Beat Whistle Jacket, who's also in this. Whistle Jacket finished just in front of Arizona Blaze, who's beaten the other market leader. So there's lots of intertwining form over in Ireland. But Coward of the County, the way that he won whilst looking like he was still learning. I know they are all learning because they're all youngsters, but it was almost as if his mind was ticking as he was going through the final furlong, and he was getting better and better. I think he looks like a really, really good horse, and I think it's the right market leader. But to give another play in the race, because maybe not everyone likes to back the favourite of the Coventry, Yamo Be There for Richard Spencer. Tom Marquand's already booked, finished 2nd at York to a good horse of Carl Burke's. And that sways me slightly, just because Carl Burke's so good at getting sprinters ready early on in their career. If you can go a couple of lengths clear of 3rd up against a well-fancied horse from the Carl Burke yard, I think there's more improvement to come from Yamo Be There. And Tom Marquand's a strong booking. So I like those 2 in the Coventry. And why not? We'll basically go through the entire card on the Tuesday. But the Ascot Stakes at 5 past 5, the 2.5 miler, Zanderbad, got to be all over him after his run at Chester. Flew home from a terrible position to finish 3rd. Connections were gutted. They really fancied him that day. And, the Chester Cup, there's all sorts of well-handicapped horses thrown in there. To only go up two pounds for that run. And he's placed at Ascot, albeit over hurdles, but it was still over course and distance. And he likes the quick surface, which you'll get on the first day. I think there's a massive case for Zanderbad. And I haven't even mentioned that champion jockey William Buick's booked.
Yeah, it certainly is. Yeah, certainly keep an eye on that. Obviously, new ownership was with Tony Martin, but he's coming under a ban. But yeah, William Buick on board Zanderbad. Keep an eye on that. And the Irish do have a really good record as well, of course, in the Ascot Stakes, especially the jumping fraternity. Absolutely superb. Any idea of what would be, if there was one horse, if somebody said, give me one horse for Ascot this week that you would be most confident on? Look, mine is Mick Barhy. I think he's going to take the world of beating in the Group 1 on Saturday, which means, Frank, I've got all week to wait, which means my nap isn't down early doors.
Well, one more I haven't mentioned in the last race on the Tuesday. These silks here, Bellocchio is the favourite. I can't give you much more than he's working very well. I'm sure most Ascot runners are working very well, but bolted up on his first start for Bully Mullins at Punchestown, and I think they're quite keen on Bellocchio's chances. Again, William Buick booked for the Irish in one of these big handicaps, so that's another to look out for on the Tuesday. It could be a very good day if we've got anything to do with it, Matt. On Tuesday, it'd be a nice start to the week. God, I really like Twilight Calls as an each way bet, to be honest with you. The course form and the way that he's had one less run and Ryan's still on board, I just think you got a seriously good chance of being in the money there at double figure price.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's got a huge chance myself as well. So Wednesday morning will either be turn up into Ascot in a swagger with the bundles of cash in our pockets, or we'll be down Ascot High Street with our top hat in hands looking for donations. Either or. Tuesday's going to be a big day.
It is, yeah, and hopefully it goes well and sets the tone for the week.
Yeah, fingers crossed. It's going to be a fantastic week, of course. 3 football matches per day, plus 6 fantastic races each and every day from 7, I should say. 7 fantastic races each day, I should say, of course, from Royal Ascot. Myself and Frankie will be there. Hopefully you can be too. If not, you'll be in the best place with us here at Betfred to give the best of all the action. Please gamble responsibly, and whatever you are backing, the very best of luck.